Hey everyone, my name is Matt and welcome back to Cobb Hill Farms. It's a little bit of a noisy morning here on the farm, but it's actually a good kind of noisy. Hear the birds chirping? That's a nice way to start out a morning. First thing we gotta get done here on the farm this morning is we gotta go move the Premier 1 fencing for the egg layers, get that moved around, get them on some new pasture. I gotta say one thing, hostas are pretty resilient plants. You can't kill these things. The hens were out here, I don't know, a couple weeks ago for a few days, and they had these things ate right down to nothing. And they've shot right back to what you see. Yeah, they're not pretty, but they're here. Well, as long as we're down here, we might as well get the other pasture box ready to go. We got to move another batch of broiler chicks out here this morning. We got a small post hole digging job for the neighbor to do today, so we're gonna go get that done and then we'll be back in a few. Well, that job went about as typical as it usually does around here. If there's one thing we grow good around here in this part of the country, it's rocks. Trying to put any kind of holes in the ground with a post hole digger, you either get really lucky and it'll go right in the ground, or you hit Rock City. We ended up hitting Rock City and we ended up with only getting about 6 out of the 12 poles in the ground. They were just poles for raspberry bushes, so I'm not sure what he's going to do with the ones we didn't get in the ground, but we'll have to check that out later on. But now we're going to move on to another job we want to get done.
That should be plenty for today.
Draw a pin with a linch pin. Very important. Green thing again. It's back. So we got 4 or 5 days of nice weather coming up here. Very little chance of any rain. So I came out with a 460 in the hay bine yesterday, and I knocked down the 5 acres that's north of the farm here, and it laid down real nice. So we're gonna take the Super M and the tedder and see about getting the spread out to see if we can get her to dry. So after a little bit of bite to eat for lunch, we're going to try to come outside this afternoon and be as productive this afternoon as we were this morning. Side. That's all the baby broilers. So this batch of chicks was ready to come outside. They're roughly 4 weeks old. We got another batch of chicks coming, not this week, but the beginning of next week. So I want to clean the brooder up and get the floor dried out and everything before we put another batch of broilers in. So that's why we moved these ones outside. They were ready. There's a couple larger ones in here. They were actually from this batch. But when we went to move this batch outside, they were a little bit on the smaller side, so we decided to leave them in the brooder, and they'll be the first ones we butcher out of this box when we get around to it. This box we've already butchered some out of. We went to our first farmers market over the weekend. Things went really well there, so we're going to be hitting this box hard as far as butchering goes this week to fill orders for the farmers market this upcoming weekend. Well, now that we got broiler chickens all taken care of, we got to take care of this project now. Get this bottom of the barn all cleaned up. And the last thing we got to take care of is that. That would be Logan's baby. And I'll let Logan talk about that here in 1 second. But every year we do what we affectionately call on the farm the summer shuffle. In the winter months, all our tractors spend their time here in the bottom of the old barn. Up in the addition, we keep all our round bales in the flail chopper because the hay is easier to get to feed out when there's snow on the ground. Well, in the summer months, we basically flip-flop that. We put all the tractors up in the addition, so that way when haying season rolls around, which we're in now, we can pull the tractors outside and fill the addition with flat rack wagons full of hay, so we can back them in. They're under cover. We don't have to worry about them. And on the other flip side of that, we pack the bottom side of the barn here with round bales. And then once we're done with haying for the year, we take all the round bales that are down here at some point and put them up in the addition and then bring the tractors back down here. So now we have all the tractors on the farm. We've talked about, you've seen, whatever, with the exception of this one here in the back corner. It's been covered up with a sheet all winter long. So I'm going to let Logan talk about this because that's his tractor.
So this is my 1953 Farmall Super C, and as you can see with some of the accessories on it, this tractor is not meant for doing any sort of farm work anymore. This engine has had a little bit of work done to it. We have oversized pistons and sleeves in it. We sent the cam out to Michigan to get a performance grind done on it. The head has been grinded down to its absolute max, and this tractor is pushing almost 40 horse, and for a tractor that is stock supposed to be pushing 21 horse, I'd say that's pretty good. Let's see if this little girl will start.
So this tractor does have a little bit of history behind it. The history starts with actually the Allis-Chalmers C that we have here on the farm. I traded that Allis-Chalmers for this Super C. This was from a time period where we were heavy into tractor pulling and I wanted something built for tractor pulling. So I traded that Allis-Chalmers C for this Farmall Super C. I did some motor work to it. There's a lot hotter ones out there than what's been done to this, but it's not too shabby. I got rid of the touch control hydraulics and built this custom tank bracket to hold the tank to lose some weight. I built weight brackets front and rear. I built this rear weight bracket, built wheelie bars for it. Got to be safe when we go do tractor pulling, right? One thing that was important to me when it came to building this tractor was I wanted to somewhat keep the stock looking appearance. Yeah, I added the wheelie bars and the weight brackets and all that stuff, removed the touch control, but overall I wanted it to still mostly resemble a factory tractor. A lot of guys will take these cast centers off. These are 36-inch cast centers. A lot of guys will take them off. They'll have special hubs made, weld them to the axles, and put 38-inch tires on this. I didn't want to do that at all. You get ground speed out of it, whatever. I wanted the stock look. That's the story of this tractor. Well, we're pretty well ready to put hay in here. The only thing we got left is clean up the dirt and hay chaff once it soaks up some of the oil that spilled out on the floor from the tractor sitting here all winter. That barrel of diesel fuel has got to go over here behind the square baler. We'll do that later on this week when we bale up the hay that we just ted out earlier in the video today. We can fit roughly around 30 to 35 round bales down here in the bottom of the barn. That's a single layer. I have tried stacking them. It depends on where you are in the barn, whether you can actually get too high or not. If I can get too high, then I can get more in here. It's a place to put them inside where they're not getting rained on, keeps the quality better. And like I said, then eventually they'll get moved up to the addition later on in the fall. You know, back when we started farming, tractor pulling sort of took a little bit of a backseat. And to be honest with you, I was looking for a little bit of a change. Tractor pulling is like any other form of motorsports. It's really competitive. To be competitive, you got to sink thousands of dollars into one of these anymore. And not to knock people that do, but I can't justify spending that kind of money on something that you might get a little bit of your paying money if you go to a pay pull, or a little plastic trophy that sits on a shelf and collects dust. The only reason this tractor is still around, still on the farm, and takes up space in that barn for 10 months out of the year covered up by a sheet is the enjoyment that it brings Logan. The smile and the fun he has doing it and watching him pull, and when he can go out there and be competitive at a lot of the tracks we go to, there's nothing like it. You know, seeing your son be happy and doing something he enjoys and succeeding at it while he's doing it, it's just a win in my book all the way around. So until he's ready to do something with this thing, you know, it'll take up space in this barn all day long. It was a busy day. We got a lot of odd jobs done around the farm, things that needed to be done. Once again, that seems to be the common trend, you know, on the farm, is there's always something to do. Nothing that, you know, takes hours on end to do. Except for when you're getting into doing hay. But if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like our channel, we ask you to subscribe. We hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.